Today is July 14th, 2005. We're in Smyre, Texas, and we're going to interview Irene who's one of Mom's younger sisters. And the only two that have survived Mom is Aunt Irene and Aunt Gusty, and she lives in West Texas. So we're going to talk to Aunt Irene about life with Mama. Okay. What do you remember about? Do you remember anything about your Jurassic grandparents?
Just Grandpa, he's the one that lived with us for a while.
Uh-huh. What was he like?
He reminded me of Daddy. Of course, he had that long beard and stuff. He just looked real good. He stayed with us there for quite a while. Then when Uncle Tom moved back to San Antonio, he moved there with me, which he shouldn't have.
Did he get sick after he left?
Well, he just never was really happy after he left. Plains.
He built Grandpa's house, is what I've been told.
Yeah. He built a lot of houses around Yorktown, then he came over here and built this one. There was a little hotel there, and Wilson, they stayed in that building at the time.
Oh. Do you remember that, or were you too small?
I don't remember nothing about this.
Because I think you were pretty small when they moved there.
Oh, yeah.
Did they live in a red house when they moved there, or what?
Yeah, there in town.
Oh, and then they built the house.
Yeah, we built it and then we left it.
See, I remember being there. I think they moved out of there after I was a young teenager.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it having the windows just so far from the floor.
Yeah.
And it was always really clean.
Yeah.
And I remember Grandma being picky about drying the dishes with a different dish towel.
Yeah. She used to, girl would be washing a dish and she'd come in there and get a dish towel and dry them all out over again before she put them. She wanted to make sure that they was good and dry.
She was funny. She was. She was picky.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about your respondent grandparents?
Oh, we knew them pretty good since they lived down there for Mama and Daddy.
What was he like?
He had a mustache and he smoked a pipe and he walked like that with his hands.
That may be where Grandma got it. I remember she always kept her arms up here,
Yeah.
like a little chicken. Yeah. Was he nice?
Oh, yeah, he was real nice.
What about Grandma respondent? What was she like?
She was real nice because I know Rose and I would always go up there and Mama said, I don't ask for nothing to eat. Well, we didn't, but we went and stood right by the pantry door so she knew we was on something. So we always got something to eat then.
Where did Grandma respondent move after did he die first?
No, they moved down to Fall City in Katy. Their daughter lived. They lived there till he passed away and then she passed away.
She was 100, wasn't she, when she died?
101, going on 101.
See, I remember her being at our house on Christmas, and I got a Casper doll, and you pull a string and he would talk. And she wouldn't go in the living room if he was in there because he scared her, because she said dolls aren't supposed to talk.
Oh.
She was scared of him. That's my most memory that I have of her. What was it like at home when you were living there in Wilson with Grandpa and Grandma and everybody at home?
Just like any other family, we'd be nice and then we'd fight.
Uncle Dennis, I've always heard, was real ornery.
Oh yeah, he's always picking on those girls.
Mama said he used to hit their legs with those blue weeds that had stickers when they were picking cotton.
Yeah. And then he wanted us to hurry up, pull, so we can go somewhere else and make some money.
Mama only got to go through the 7th grade in school. Did you get to go further than the 7th grade? No. She said she had trouble keeping up because they spent the fall in the cotton field. And she finally got to where she couldn't keep up.
Well, we just went and got our books when school started, and then we didn't go till after Christmas.
Yeah.
And then trying to catch up with all that stuff, it was...
Yeah, that's what she said. She said it was too hard, and then Grandma had other babies that she needed help with, so she just stayed home and baked her bread and helped her clean house.
When she was the oldest, that's what she had to do is clean house, cook, wash, and iron.
She always got mad at Aunt Rose, I think, because she didn't help her as much as she thought she should.
Rose would rather go to the theater outside instead of working in the house.
She also said she would work, Mama would work and make money. I don't remember how she did it. And she'd buy her face creams, and Aunt Rose would use it too, and it'd make her so mad.
Then one time there was an old sick hen, and Regina was taking care of it and got it. And Mama said, well, when she gets healthy and everything, you can sell her. And what was Rose doing? Talks Mama into her taking it to time to sell it.
I know she always seemed closer to you than to Rose. I think she had a lot of fun with Aunt Rose, but I think she was always closer to you. And I guess Gusty was just so young, she never really got to know her as well. So,
It's getting dark there.
and she was always petting Everest. She always petted Everest. She loved Nick, but she always petted
Oh,
Everest.
yeah. I think, every was twin and they lost their own husbands. So maybe she was kind of more for him than.
She talked a lot about Dorothy. What do you remember about Dorothy?
Oh, Dorothy, I remember her pretty good. And whenever we had some neighbors there living too, and they had a little girl too, and she'd come up there. She'd get so mad at her. She'd talk to her in Polish and told her, you move over, you go home where you belong.
Now, she was hurt at birth, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Was she normal, or did she?
Oh, yeah, she was normal.
And why did they decide to do that surgery?
Well, her head was kind of bent in,
Uh-huh.
so it'd be a pressure on her brain and stuff, so they went in and did that surgery.
Did they do that in hospital?
Yeah. And she was real good. She passed away.
Why did she, was it from that surgery that she passed away?
I think so in a way.
So did she come home after that?
Oh, yeah, she was home.
And then she just got sick and died, or?
Yeah.
Well, now, someone told me that she, that Grandpa played the fiddle, and when she died, he didn't play it anymore.
And whatever, I was thinking of that the other day. I wonder where that fiddle went to, but I made Julia's kids probably broke it up.
They might have.
it.
They might have.
I'd like to hear that thing.
How old was Julia when Dennis died? Because he was about 45, wasn't he?
Yeah, she was getting younger than he was. I guess she was probably in her
Early 40s.
early 40s.
Did Grandpa have that house there with Julia, or is that where Dennis lived with them? There by his house
They built that little house for him.
for them to live
For
in?
them to live in.
So they always took care of Julia.
Yeah.
And then she worked at the green grocery store. See, I remember her working there. What year did Grandpa and Grandma have to move to Slayton? Do you remember?
What year was it?
It had to be in the late 60s.
I don't know exactly what year they moved to Slayton. Just can't remember exactly.
I had to stay with Grandma one night because Grandpa was in the hospital and they didn't want her to stay by themselves, or else Mama had to stay with him. And she was real formal. I mean, you could talk to her and she'd talk to you, but she didn't relax much. I mean, she was kind of formal. Grandpa was the one that was always easy to talk to.
Yeah.
When we were little, he'd take Shirley and I to the green grocery store and buy us cherry tomatoes and little wax. They had juice in them, like Coke bottles.
Yeah.
And he'd always take us down there and buy us stuff. And he had that old blue Buick, and there was a velvet rope in the back that we'd hold on to. and I remember Mama talking about when they took his car, how bad it hurt his feelings. And also, I remember when their farm was getting real weedy, and Edgar and Daddy, and I guess Leo, went out there to clean it up, and he was so mad at them because they threw away stuff he didn't want thrown away. And
yeah, and my horse and that too, so they shouldn't. They cleaned the place and everything up. They chopped some stuff that she didn't want chopped down. Oh, she was so mad they came back.
I remember how mad she was. I remember they both getting kind of aggravated. And I had to laugh whenever we would go to Mama's and clean up. And it'd make Daddy so mad, and I'd remind him, remember how mad Grandpa Drossett got when you did that? He didn't like that. He didn't like me to tell him. But I guess we're all like that. We don't want people messing with our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about when Grandpa died?
Grandpa Drossett? Oh, well, he was really sick or something like he was in the hospital for a while. And then he passed away.
Now, he had a stroke a while before then, because I remember
Because he
them.
couldn't walk too good.
Yeah. Drug
Push.
his foot. I remember him. I think they went to San Antonio to see somebody become a priest, and he had a stroke. Because I remember a lot of times y'all would go there.
Yeah.
I remember Mama and you driving there with Rose to see about him.
Yeah.
I just vaguely remember his funeral. I was probably in junior high. But I do remember he stayed with us one time, and I remember he messed the bed, and Betty cleaned him up. I remember that.
Yeah.
What about Grandma? What was she like? Was she a strict mother, or was she?
Oh, yeah, she was real nice, but she made sure that you walked the line right.
I think Mama told me that she cared a lot about what people thought.
Yeah, she did.
And she said when Grandma got a certain pregnant, she wouldn't go to town anymore because she just thought that wasn't what you should do.
Yeah.
For people to see you when you're big.
Yeah, a lot of different ideas.
More Victorian ideas.
Yeah.
I remember when we'd go over there and she had plates that had yellow around the edge. And we would have to sit on that bench by those windows, and I was always afraid we'd fall out of those windows because they were so low. And I remember her cooking lunch when Mama would go clean her house. And Shirley and I, she would give us those cookies that would look like windmills that had almonds in them, and tab.
Yeah.
I guess she drank tab.
Yes, she took me out, and I'd go up there and clean the house and stuff, you know. Well, she always cooked. She didn't want me to help her. She said, I'll do the cooking if you do the cleaning. So we did, and then after that, I got through. Betty'd be out in the yard working, so I got there and helped him. Dig the grass out of the flowers and grass out.
What I remember about their house is that big cement porch.
Yeah.
But they didn't have any chairs on it. That always struck me as strange.
I don't know, they didn't do. They had one chair. It was kind of a rocking chair. I think Grandpa Drossett brought it there when he stayed with him, and he left it when he left.
Was it the one with no arms?
No, it had arms on it. And Dennis was always turned crazy. Mom and Daddy sit out on the front porch, and he said, you know, they always sit out there, and we can't go out there and rock in that old chair that's supposed to be ours.
In that house, where did everybody sleep? Because I only remember 2 bedrooms.
Well, the girls slept in the living room. Yeah, we had a bed in the living room where the girls slept.
And what was that little bitty room by Grandma and Grandpa's bedroom that kind of faced the porch? Was that a bedroom?
No, it was just a little hall, they called it.
And I remember that hall, that big hall that went to the bedroom.
Yeah.
It was a big hall. So the boys slept in that other bedroom?
Yeah. It wasn't too big. When we go talking, I can just see it. Just the way it was.
Yeah, I can too. I don't remember a lot of details. And I've had a lot of dreams that we left something in the attic that was really important.
Oh.
And I never even knew if there was an attic. But I've dreamed many times y'all left something in the attic that was real important.
It was an attic, and the one time we was fixing to go to Lubbock, and then Mama forgot something, so we went back, and the good thing we did. Because they had that heater going, and it had caught a fire in that hall by the bedrooms.
Oh.
If we wouldn't have went back, it would have lost the house.
I do remember the little screened-in porch on the back.
Yeah.
And the washstand that you had to wash your hands on in the kitchen.
Right at the door. And in the kitchen.
And I remember Grandpa had a fenced-in front yard. And it was always really neat. And then he had a pasture kind of fenced in that was full of wildflowers. So apparently we got our green thumbs from Grandpa. He had fruit trees on the one side and on the other side was the garden. See, I don't think he had a garden when I was there.
Then they had some grape vines.
Yeah, and I remember the grapevines. I remember how pretty that was in spring with all those wildflowers.
Nothing there. Just feel.
That's what I heard. You can't even tell where the road was. That's awful, isn't it? Because I know they worked hard for that house.
I know.
I guess we all do that. We work hard on our houses, and then someday somebody will just take it to the ground.
That's right.
It's not going to be useful anymore. Whenever Grandma stayed with us, I would tease her because she always ate. You know, Mom would keep her plums and crackers, and she'd eat all the time.
Yeah.
You know, she liked to eat, and she could eat anything she wanted. And I'd always tease her about eating, and Mom would go, "Don't tease her." And I asked her, I said, "Why not?" She goes, "We just never teased our mom." And she said, "She really don't have much of a sense of humor about that kind of stuff." Well, I would tease her anyway. In that hallway at our house, it was dark, and I'd always shut my bedroom door when I left, and she'd start talking to me in Polish, and I'd have to move her into the hall, the door to her room so she could see me, and I'd go, "Grandma, I can't understand you," and she'd just laugh. But I'd tease her about eating a lot. So one day, I set a platter, a big fork, and this big coffee cup somebody gave Mama, and Mama was like, "Don't do that. Don't tease her." Well, Grandma came in and she saw that, and she just snickered and giggled. And then whenever I did my wedding cake and I had it in the dining room, I went in there and she was standing there and she had a fork and she said, "Hey, hey," and she was pretending like she was going to poke my cake. So she, you know, I think she relaxed a little bit more with her grandkids.
Yeah.
Than she did. But Mama told me she was always worried about what people thought.
She did.
And Mama had a little bit of that.
And she wanted, how we dress and all that stuff. She always.
I wonder if people were mean to her, maybe because of that same thing when she was growing up. Do you remember any of her sisters?
Yeah, I remember Katie and Regina, the twins.
And Regina just died a few years ago, didn't she?
She lived in White Deer, and then Katie lived at Falls City.
And they were twins, weren't they?
Yeah. And Katie, last time I was up there, she was in San Antonio with her daughter. But maybe she's passed away by now, too. Then we went to see Uncle Frank. He was still living, but I think he's gone too now. So I guess they're in the
How old was Aunt Rose when she died?
It was 55.
I remember when she died, Earl and I had just started dating.
Yeah. Let's see, she had cancer. It had her down there at Galveston. But the doctor said the cancer didn't cure her. She had blood clot.
Oh.
Went into her heart.
She was my sponsor.
Yeah.
And we went to Shirley's shower, I think. And she had on a butterfly pin that was so pretty. And I told her, I said, "That is so pretty." And she said, "Yeah, I have a lot of different pins." Well, then when we went to Shirley's wedding, I guess, she brought me a butterfly pin with earrings, kind of like hers. And I don't, she probably gave me gifts when I was younger, I don't remember. But that's the only gift I ever remember getting from her. And she died I think it was that fall. When Mama we made Mama's dress for my wedding. We got one with a plain front, and she wore that pin and earrings. And then when Uncle Leo got there, he said, "You know, me and Rose were your sponsors." And I said, "Yeah, I remember, Leo." He said, "Mama's wearing a pin that Aunt Rose gave me, and you're supposed to sit at the main table." And I felt kind of sorry for him because I guess he thought everybody had forgotten him since Aunt Rose was gone.
Yeah.
But they'd all just kind of forgot about him. But he sat up there at the main table with us. But I used to stay with them sometimes, but not very often.
Yeah.
And I remember Randy being the meanest little son of a gun you ever seen.
I know.
He talked me into getting in the pig pen to see the baby pigs. So we're in there looking at the baby pigs, and here comes the mama. And he goes, "Run, Sharon, run!" And we barely cleared that fence before that mama pig hit it. My most vivid memory of her is saying, "Randy, Randy."
Yeah. Randy didn't do anything, he just kept it going.
I remember going to your house in Smyre, and Luke would always want me to spend the night. And Mom would always say, "Well, we didn't bring any clothes." And so he took my shorts and made me put on some of Matthew's, and he sewed me a couple of short sets while we were there so I could spend the night. We used to have so much fun. And Matthew, oh, we had a lot of fun. We'd have a lot of fun. I was always kind of close to Matthew.
Matthew used to always say, "I'm going to marry her."
I remember once we were playing in your laundry room, and he spilled something, and I grabbed the mop, and I mopped it up, and he was so upset because the mop was Shala. That was his friend Shala.
Yeah.
Oh, he was upset with me. But, and I remember when we'd go to wedding dances, the other boys that were cousins wouldn't dance with us, but Matthew would dance with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved it. He was the star of the show.
He loved to dance.
He'd wear me out sometimes, though, because he had more energy than I did. I think the last time I saw Matthew, he had come home for Christmas, and he was wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
And you had that big German St. Bernard,
Yeah.
Coco. And I would sit in his lap, and then he'd have to sit in my lap, and we did the bump to White Christmas. And he turned his tray over because he gets so excited. He turned his tray over, and he blamed it on Coco. He said, "Coco!" But he was always a lot of fun. He was like a comedian. He could tell stories that were so funny. Oh, he's sad because we're not paying attention to him, I guess. Let me see, what did I forget? Wow, what do you remember about Mama being at home with you?
Oh, she was the oldest one, and she was always busy.
Was she bossy?
Well, not really.
See, Daddy was always bossy. I wondered if she ever was.
If she said anything, you say, "You're not a mama."
I remember her saying that, I guess y'all's pantry had a window in it.
Yeah.
And Dennis would leave the window unlocked, so when Grandma and them went to town, y'all could sneak in there and get sugar to make candy.
Yeah, Dennis was bad about that. He didn't do that. He'd hide stuff under the bed so he could make candy and stuff.
I guess that's why Mom always had a candy dish full of candy for us. 'Cause we could have all the candy we wanted. I guess she never got very much candy.
No. Oh, he was, I think that day he was a mess.
I know she named me Sharon Denise after him. And if I was ornery, I would wait till she was to pick up her sprinkler, and then I'd turn it on full blast, and she'd say, "I never should have named you after that damn Dennis." Do you remember her wedding?
Regina's wedding? Slightly.
What do you remember about it?
She got married.
That's it? You don't remember anything else about
No,
it?
they had a nice wedding, had a dance, supper, and a dance.
Did y'all miss her when she left?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't nothing we could do about it, didn't they, son?
Did you see her a lot after she got married?
Well, see, they lived there in Satan for a while.
Uh-huh.
So every time we went to stay, we'd stop by there to see them.
Well, she told me that you and Rose would grab Billy and get in Grandpa's car so that she'd have to go to y'all's house to get him. I remember her telling me that. And she said that whenever, I guess when she had him and Grandpa and them come over, that Dorothy and Gusty brought Billy an apple. She laughed about that. And I have a candlestick and a cream and sugar and a salt and pepper shaker that Everest and I guess Nick gave her when she got married.
No.
And it was, I'm sure it wasn't, I mean, it's kind of a goldy color because she painted it. And, but it wasn't ever real gold, I don't think. I think it was just something they probably got. And she kept it all those years. And at one of my daughters, I guess it was when Tiffany got married, we used it on the groom's table. And she was real tickled about that because we used it. But Aunt Lena told me that Daddy wanted her to date Dennis. And she didn't care for Dennis. And he told her she couldn't be in his wedding if she wouldn't date Dennis. And she said, I don't care. So he told her, I'm going to work your ass off, but you ain't going to do what I want you to. So he made her sew bridesmaid dresses and cook the meat for the wedding.
Oh. Punished her.
But I think their family was a lot different. I think theirs was a lot rougher.
Yeah.
And I bet Mama was surprised when she got over there with the hooligans. Just from what Linda told me, he was pretty much in charge at their house.
Yeah.
So,
And see, Bernard was the youngest of me. Well, he was the one that saw Henri at that time, Virginia said when they stayed with them for a while there. So he's always picking on me. He wanted to come and sleep with them and everything else.
I think he was about 5 when they married. So, well, Daddy never said Bernard. He always said that damn Bernard, that little devil, or something, you know. How about when y'all moved to town in Wetland? Y'all got closer then, didn't you? Because you had time to spend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we could see one another all the time, get things together. We'd take all those kids and go to Lubbock, talking about having fun.
Yeah. What was that? About 10 kids?
Then we'd go to a store, you know, while we was looking for stuff. Those kids was in between hiding.
I think I was one of those kids.
You probably was.
Oh, I remember her she was always patient. But if she ever got mad, then you had it. When she spanked me, it'd be with the fly swatter or a wooden spoon. Because I would talk my nieces and nephews into going in the cellar, and I would tell them a scary story, and then I'd turn the light off and run out and shut the door. And I got more spankings for doing that. And an hour later, I could take them right back down, and they'd follow me right back down there for a scary story. Many of them remember me.
Yeah.
And she'd always say, I should have never named you after that damn Dennis. But they had fun together. I know she'd tell me stories about Edgar and Daddy, and she'd laugh. And I don't think she got to see Nick and Wanda as much, but they had a good time when she got to see
Oh
them.
yeah. We lived in Lubbock there for a while. We lived together. And that Roger, their oldest boy, he started school. Well, they'd get up and take him to school. Then they had to do something in town. By the time they got back, he was back home already. He didn't want to go to school.
That sounds like my grandson. Tiffany's little boy is ornery. And he'll tell her, and so that teacher keeps putting me in trouble. And it snowed one day, and she said, Jane, you need to dress warm because it snowed and it's cold outside. He goes, teacher called and said she's not coming.
So he didn't want to go.
Yeah, he wasn't going because the teacher said she wasn't coming. Do you remember when each of us was born?
Kinda. Not really, but He never.
I know she thought she was finished when she had Dorothy. She saved in somewhere in her closet, and I didn't see it until she broke up her house, to move out. And she kept all the shower cards from my baby shower.
No.
Every one of them, they're beautiful cards. And it was kind of funny because I collect old cards. But I have all of these, and it has different people's handwriting that I remember and what I got. And I think you gave me a bedspread. And Irene used that bedspread, but she gave it back to me. So I have the bedspread that you gave Mama.
I used to it.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Well, you had Matthew a little before me, right? And then Dale was born after me. So I guess that's why Matthew and I were close, because we probably grew
We're
up.
so close together.
Yeah. What did you think when you heard about Daddy? Were you surprised?
Well, see, we were gone. We was going to Possum Kingdom, Bill and Rose and I. And we heard it on the radio that they had found her. And I couldn't believe it. It was just such a shock.
Those kind of things didn't happen back then. Now they do a lot.
Yeah,
But back then it was real strange.
Well, you hear that nearly every day. What's happening?
When Betty disappeared, Mama was just beside herself.
Yeah, I know.
And I think the doctor gave her something and she just went to bed. I mean, she was just shocked.
Well, yeah, she needed to be.
And then the day they found her, me and Tonette were wrapping presents. And Tonette had told Mama, she said, I want my Mama to come home on her birthday. Well, they had her birthday party Saturday night. And Mama was watching TV. And Tonette and I were wrapping presents. And she heard, they said, the skeletal remains of Elizabeth Perryman had been found in Potter County. And Tonette looked at me and she said, does that mean my Mama's dead? And I said, I don't know. So I went to see Mama and see if she was okay, and she saw it on TV. And she met me in the kitchen and she said, clean the house up. So I had Tonette helping me clean, and I called Nell and I said, what is going on? And Billy had just walked in from taking her dental records. And he was mad because they were supposed to give him time to tell Mom and Daddy before they put it on the news. And he went to get Daddy, and then he came to Nell come to our house. And before, we were making supper. We were making pizzas, me and Tonette, and Carolyn Barrett came and she finished the pizza. And before then, our house was, just a few minutes, our house was full of people. And it was full of people till the day of the funeral.
Yeah.
It was so full of people I couldn't breathe. I'd go outside, and I was out there. One time Billy goes, I've got the flu and I feel so bad, and that house is so hot. Well, that was when a couple of days later he had his appendicitis attack, and they had to take his appendix out. So instead of him having the flu, that's what he had. And had they not been giving him antibiotic shots, he probably would have died. But they kept that appendix in one spot.
Yeah.
That was a real rough time for Mom. I don't think she was ever the same after that.
No, this was good. I know it's hard. It's hard. Have to go through something like that.
And I remember Kathy and Jeannie coming over and bringing her a bunch of little baby clothes for Gina, because she was little then. She was about 3, 4 months old.
Yeah.
And they brought the kids toys. I remember them doing that. But she'd have good times, and then she'd just go to bed. Because she just couldn't handle it. It was just too hard for her to deal with. I don't think she got over it until Daddy died, and then she worried about Daddy. Her most famous saying was, if he could have only lived 2 years. And she told me that one day. I said, Mama, it's already been 2 years.
I know. She told me that he had come in and sat down in a chair there and hollered at her, bring me a bowl of peaches. She said, when I went in and got the bowl of peaches and came in there, said he was already coming.
That was real hard for her. Because she was so used to him telling her what to do. When she lived next door to me, she would cook supper, big suppers. And I said, Mommy, you don't have to do that. And then it got to where she put plastic dishes in the oven.
Oh.
So I had to stop her cooking and we'd take her a Play-Doh.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't cook.
Yeah.
And it was just real tough there at the end. We just couldn't watch her enough to make sure she was safe.
Yeah.
And so, but that was a hard choice to have to put her in the nursing home. But she,
I told the kids, I said, if I get that bad, I hope God takes me, so I don't have to go to the nursing home.
well, at first she had fun, because she'd go out with them.
Mm-hmm.
They'd go out to, on one day a week they'd go eat. And one time she was with a group, and it was pumpkin, where they'd go get pumpkins.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those little men told her, he said, let's just steal some pumpkins when we go out. So she called that farmer that gave it to him,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, don't come out there, because he wants to steal those pumpkins. And so they drove out there, and a couple of little old men got out and stole some pumpkins. And they had the best time. Mom and them were all giggling because they stole those pumpkins and got away with it. But then she got to where she didn't want to go, because she was kind of slipping back. But I remember when she was, before she went to nursing home, she had pneumonia. I guess Daddy might have stolen a lot. And we had to stay with her in there, and she had it so bad she was out of her head. And she'd say, who's going to pay for it? She woke me up all night. Who's going to pay for this hotel room? I said, Mom, don't worry about it. I'm going to pay for it. But she worried all night. And then when she broke her hip, she would cry out in Polish for her mama. She'd say, Mama, and then she'd start talking in Polish. So I guess she was like a little kid wanting her mama to fix it. And Dorothy and I were in there with her, and her IV kept going on. And so Dorothy was going to punch those buttons and try to turn it off, and Mama went, hey! She scared Dorothy to death. I thought Dorothy was going to have a heart attack.
Don't do that.
But she just became someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, I don't think she even remembered us. I think she just thought we were kin to her, and she was nice to us. But she didn't even act like she knew who we were.
Mm-hmm.
But we kept trying to get Daddy to move out there before she got sick, and he just wouldn't do it. You know, we all kind of consider you our surrogate mom now, because we don't have our mom, and you're so much like her.
I'm glad of that.
That may or may not be a blessing. What do you remember about when you and Edgar got married?
I remember Monsignor O'Brien was still there. And he told us to come on to the house, to the rectory, until it was time to go into church. So we went in there, of course, that night. He was pulling stunts in that house. And I told him, I said, he better not do it. I don't like walk in on us. He said, that's all right. He knows it's going to be a wedding.
Did you make your dress?
No, Regina made him.
My mama made it. Because I know she got somebody to make hers.
Yeah, Miss, I was thinking that Miss Wisely, I think in Slayton made hers. And she made mine in Rose. Mama went to town and bought Rose's wedding dress. And Dusty, I don't know now whether she bought hers or whether Regina made it too. Too many years ago,
What color were your bridesmaid dresses? Do you remember?
Yeah, there's kind of a rose color.
Rose color. Who were your bridesmaids?
Lydia and Rosalie Hines. Lydia looks different now. And Rosalie, a cousin to Edgar.
Did you have a wedding cake?
Yeah.
Who made that?
I made my wedding cake. And we didn't eat it on our wedding day. Then we went off on our honeymoon and came back. And it was dried out.
Well, Mama said they ate theirs at a breakfast the week after. and that was the tradition.
Yeah.
Now, she got married at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. Did y'all get married at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday? Did you get married in the old church?
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, Everest was the only one that got married in the new church.
I think so. I know Jeannie was here yesterday, and she said that I'd like for you to see if you have a picture of that old church.
I have one, but it's when the windows were all knocked out. I'll have to see if I can find it.
Well, I'm going to have to look through all my pictures yet. It would look to be so over here, but I've got some in my room that I'm going to have to look through and see.
You don't talk about a play with the picture of St. Michael's.
No. We're talking about the old church they were married in. When did y'all quit going to St. Michael's and start going to Christ the King? Because didn't Edgar help build St. Michael's?
Yeah.
I thought he did.
Yeah, he did the church and the rectory. He did all that. Because we was living there in town, and what was his name? He'd come eat with us, and he'd sit there, and he'd do like this all the time while he was eating.
Who was it?
What was his name?
Was he the priest?
Huh?
It wasn't the priest, was it?
Yeah.
Father Mac?
No.
Father Bozeman. Higgins.
Father Higgins.
What's the matter?
You're sitting on his chair.
Oh, that's what's wrong with me.
That's all right. You can go sit somewhere else. Go on.
I can't think of what else I was going to ask. How long did you and Edgar date? 4 years?
I would keep saying that. You're not going to get married, brother. You're not going to get married, brother.
How old were you when you did get married?
20.
Oh, so you were real young.
Yeah. I was 16, I guess, when we started living together.
I think Mama was a little bit older than that when her and Daddy started. She might have been around 18 or 19. Did you ever think you'd outlive most of your siblings? Or did you think Edgar'd kill you?
I'm not sure he didn't.
Oh. Where is Luke at right now?
She didn't take that again.
Philadelphia? Do you ever go up there to see him?
No. I imagine he's probably in Florida. You know, he bought him a place up there.
Hopefully he won't get hit by a hurricane.
Well, I think he's on the other side from where the hurricane's coming in.
Well, that's good. How old is Luke now?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to be 50.
You've been asking me questions, but I can't remember how old my kids are.
When was he born? Do you remember that?
I don't need to know that. I have to look in the Bible.
See, I know he was younger than Dorothy, but he's older than me.
I've got it all wrote down in here.
So he's bound to be in his mid-50s. Anything else you want to ask her, Billy?
So, remember breaking the slats in that bed?
In her bed?
Me and Albert.
Jumping on
You'd
it?
fall backward. That's when they lived in Lebanon. Broke every slat in that bed.
Then we had some neighbors living down the street from us. The boys wasn't very old, but they were smoking. And they didn't want to smoke it by their house, so they came up there and sat on the curb at our house every night and smoked it. And we said, why don't you call your mama? I said, nope, I'm not getting tangled up in that.
I faintly remember those kids.
There was two boys living down the street there all the time.
Remember that plastic nigger shooter shooting people using BBs?
Yeah.
Me and Albert going to the brown gin and shooting those suction feeders with our BB guns. Because we could hide amongst them concentrates.
One time, you and Mama went to clean Grandma's house, and me and Dorothy and Luke, Matthew, and I think you might have taken Dale with you. We waited till y'all got out of sight and y'all didn't have time to turn back around. And we loaded up a bunch of junk on Edgar's tractor and drove it to that old house that was next to the gym.
Oh, what y'all do?
And we got it all set up like a house, and then we got worried that y'all'd be coming home. So we all put all that stuff back on the tractor and drove home and put it all away before y'all got there. And I think back and I'm thinking, we could have killed each other on that tractor because we just stood on different parts of that tractor. And we didn't even have time to play because by the time we got it set up, it was time we had to hurry and get home before y'all did. I think that's enough, Debbie. You can turn that off.
That was fun, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fun.